Hi, I'm Stuart Neal, broker owner at Ambigate Realty Advisors, coming to you from my office here in Highlands, Edmonton. And today we're going to be talking about how to choose a real estate brokerage that is right for you. And the first question you may be wanting to ask yourself is, do I go for a big, large brokerage, or do I go for a smaller brokerage? And the larger brokerages probably attract a fair number of real estate agents because incoming people to that brokerage assume that there's strength in numbers, and that there's likely to be a lot of help within that brokerage for them. The opposite may in fact be true. The reality about the bigger brokerages is that the broker's really running a large cash flow machine, and each and every agent that comes along is making a little bit of a contribution to revenues and therefore profitability. The reality culturally as a practitioner is that the large brokerages are impersonal, and that you may well be competing with everybody else within that brokerage. The argument for a small brokerage is that there's definitely going to be a feel or a culture associated with that brokerage which might suit you. And I suspect that you'll find that there's going to be more of a family-like atmosphere, whereas people are more inclined to be willing to help you with some of the everyday technical components of your job. Do you go franchised or do you go independent? Well, franchise brands work the same way when it comes to recruiting real estate agents that franchise brands work on the minds of consumers. When we're unable to tell the difference between one service provider and another, many people, many of us will pick the franchise because we have a sense as to what we're going to get. So if we drive into a new town, we may pick a coffee from a Starbucks or a Second Cup or something like that simply because we know what we're going to get, as opposed to a much better local independent. And frankly, the situation is much the same within the world of real estate brokerages. I think too many new people coming in assume that if they pick a franchise, it's going to help them in some way, that there's going to be layers of support and training and so on and so forth. And the reality is that most of that isn't true. If there's an argument to pick a franchise brand, it's because it may help you pick up listings, particularly whilst you're new, and if you don't have a different service story to tell. If you do have a different service story to tell, you've got something that is unique, like we do, for example, then you don't need a franchise brand. When it comes to working with buyers don't care who you're registered with. Will you show up? Do you have access to the information that they need? Are you likable? Are you trustworthy? Are you reliable? If you can answer yes to most of those questions, you're going to get the job with a buyer, irrespective of what kind of a brokerage you're associated with. And then I guess the third and final thing to consider is whether or not you want to be a lone ranger or a collaborator. Now, traditionally, our industry's worked by way of lots and lots of lone rangers who own the whole job from start to finish. I think increasingly we're finding that consumers are demanding and expecting more of a team-based approach to real estate agency services, I should say. And there are some good arguments for that. The consumer gets a much more rounded experience. We've got the best people perhaps doing certain pieces of the job based on their own skill sets and preferences. And of course, from a professional perspective, it means you get to take time off. Anyway, should you have any questions or any further questions about what kind of a brokerage might be right for you, I'm always happy to help. I'll help you explore all of your choices. I know the Edmonton and area market particularly well, and if our brokerage is not right for you, I'll certainly point you in the direction of one that it could be more suitable. You can reach me by telephone at 780-760-2014 extension 3. That's 780-760-2014 extension 3. Or check out the careers guidance page on our website, ambergatehomes.com, or send me an email, Stuart, Stuart, @ambergaterealtyadvisors.ca. Cheers.